Darby. That's all I did.
I hate you.
Holy shit, Danny. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Danny Hernandez. I hope everybody enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. I know I sure did because I'm absolutely fucking exhausted. But we are back, and Danny is too. We are back here once again to review the latest episode of AEW Dynamite, and this was certainly an episode. We started the show with Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland in the Tag Team Championship blind eliminator tournament. Obviously, when you have a blind tournament and you're getting two guys who always tag up and two guys that used to be a tag team who are now feuding on two different teams, doesn't really feel like it was that much of a random blind draw. But it is what it is, and we got a pretty decent match out of it. The beginning of the match is actually pretty funny. We had a good sequence with Orange and Keith Lee where Orange was going in his chops, so to speak, and then Keith Lee threw in his and was absolutely knocked Orange to the ground. Keith Lee also threw Darby like 10 feet, which was really cool. There's a really nasty-looking sequence, and I mean this in a good way, where Swerve put Darby underneath the ring steps, and he got stuck there for a while. And then Keith Lee carried Orange up the stairs with Darby underneath them still, which was just, ugh. It looked like it hurt. Anyway, at the end of the match, there was a ton of miscommunication, between Keith Lee and Swerve, which caused Swerve to hit Keith Lee with a 450, trying to break up a pin. And then he accidentally kicked Lee in the head when they were going for one of the combo moves they used to hit back when they were Swerve in Our Glory. Orange was able to take advantage of this. He hit a diving DDT onto Swerve Strickland, and then he hit one on to Keith Lee on the outside. And then Darby was able to wrap up Swerve in the Last Supper and pinned him for the win. Swerve, after the match, very pissed off, and Keith Lee almost seemed happy or relieved and dapped up Darby and Orange before heading out. So, Danny, this was a fun match as Hardcore Casual. Just put a hello to him. Hello to JL as well in the chat. I saw him pop in there. It was fun. It wasn't anything special. I did like all the miscommunication between Swerve and Keith. I think that it was kind of cool that despite the fact they were a tag team, now the fact that they hate each other, they weren't able to get on the same page and it ends up costing them the match.
See, maybe this match wasn't quote-unquote special, but I think there was a lot of positives and takeaways from this match. One, I guess Darby has a new character, and his character is just telling people that they need to be better characters. Like, started with MJF, then Sammy, and now Keith. He's just like anyone who's like lost in the shuffle. He's like, hey, how about you stop doing that? How about you be good? So this was no, I also think the match was great. Producer boy, Eric, whoever that is. But I'm just saying, Rev's saying it was nothing special, but I think it was really fun. But that also doesn't mean that it wasn't fun. He just
I liked it. I'm just saying, it wasn't groundbreaking. It was a good, fun match to start the show. I
think it was. I'm breaking it down right now. One, Darby is going down an interesting path where he is leading lost souls to salvation. Two, it's just more Orange Cassidy. Everything this man fucking does is brilliant. Just taking those chops from Keith. And the second time, too, when he got up in the corner and he was going to do, he's like, wait. Like, just let me put my hands in my pocket. So, amazing. Great fucking stuff. So into that. And maybe this will finally be the catalyst that gets us a fucking Keith Lee versus Swerve match, a singles match between the two. So I think this match accomplished a lot while being a lot of fun. The way these two sold for Keith, this was the best he looked in a long time. Way better than they looked his match with Jericho. Like, these two were bumping their out. Pretty much, he counted everything. Bro, the way he caught Cassidy for the first Stun Dog Millionaire, like, that was so good. After blocking like 4 DDTs, blocked Stun Dog Millionaire. Like, it took so much just to get this dude down once. Like, they made Keith look amazing. Everyone looked good in this match. And the team that lost because they don't like each other. And that's the beauty of having these oddball tag teams, that you can't beat them because they have inherent protection by not being a team and not liking each other, so not getting along. So this tournament, so far, so freaking good. And we'll talk about it a little more later, but I agree with the producer boy that, it's got me behind this blind limit. I was already into it because of all the character work that just from Cole and MJF alone, but like this was a good idea, even if there are too many tournaments. Like you should have run 3 tournaments technically simultaneous of each other. But I don't know about Keith being better as a heel. I mean, I don't know, I think he'd be great at it, but like this worked because he was, just a face playing along with the surroundings around him. He was like, yeah, okay, like, Darby, you want me to be a little pissed off of you? Sure, I'll fucking play your little game. Darby's the one who agitated him. He's the one who instigated the situation.
Yeah, he bitch slapped him to start the match.
Yeah, which is another thing he's starting to do more too. Interesting character work for Darby here, but I thought this was really, really fun. I'm very into this tournament now. But yeah, I mean, it's just 4 great fucking wrestlers having a fun-ass match. Like, yeah, the wrestling wasn't groundbreaking, but I think they did more with this than like the main event did with the nice sequences and moves. Not to shit on the main event or anything, but I think character wise this did a lot for everyone. I think they had a lot of plates spinning and they didn't drop any, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It helped sell me on the blind eliminator as well, as did the Cole MJF match, which we'll talk about later, like you said. So I think both of the matches today for this tournament really helped sell the entire thing. Plus the addition of a new tag team that they announced later, which we'll also get to. So I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It was a great open to the show. I thought it really got everything rolling. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I did really enjoy the character work like you did. It was just a whole bunch of good wrestlers doing good character work and doing good wrestling. And I don't really think you can complain at all about that. Okay, after this, we had a video package to hype up newest signee Nick Wayne. Apparently, he's a friend of Darby Allin and only 18. So they're starting to tell his story here through Darby, which I think is a very good idea because obviously Darby's very well known and they're friends and stuff. So excited to see what this kid does in the future. We then went to a backstage interview with, we'll be on the show next week. Thank you. We went to a backstage interview with Jungle Boy Jack Perry as he rolled up to the arena and he was met by Shivani. Shivani asked him about last week, and Jack said he's not a thug from New York. Dang. I take offense to that. And he'll come
to the Bronx, bro. Come to the Bronx.
He'll handle his problems with Hook in the ring by going to Tony Khan to demand an FTW title match, which is weird because I feel like since they don't recognize that title, I'm not sure Tony Khan can make that match, but they do anyway. I don't know. Anyway, Hook just appears out of nowhere and starts kicking the shit out of Jack, but Jack is able to get back in his car and speed away, so he never actually got to ask for the title match. That is a good point. He did just go shopping in Ricky Starks' closet, but the drip guy can attest that, dressing like a dumbass, or at least dressing like that, is great character work. So, Danny, we are still continuing to see the evolution of Jungle Boy as a heel, and I was curious to see what you thought about this week's promo as opposed to last week's.
This one was 1,000 times better because it was like 35 seconds long. It was short, sweet, to the point, and it had Hook fucking coming out of nowhere. Great fucking short little sweet segment. Very big fan of it. The promo last week was way too try hard. This week was perfect, short, sweet. I think it got across what it needed to get across, and the intensity from Hook coming in made this an overall a very good segment. I'm not even going to shit on Jungle Boy because he didn't do anything wrong this time because they hid his weaknesses by having it be short. And Hook looked really badass. I've somehow become into this, and I agree with that tweet that if we get a hair versus hair match, it'd be fucking sick.
That would be fun. I wonder. I'd be curious to see who loses that match. I feel like it would have to be Jungle Boy. Like, I don't think Hook wants to cut his hair, and having Jungle Boy lose allows him to cut that hair, unless that's what he wants his look to be. I don't know.
You hate Jungle Boy Jack Perry because of his hot girlfriend. I hate Jungle Boy Jack Perry because Christian Cage told me to. We're not the same. Screenshot that, producer boy. Cross out Christian Cage and put because Danny told you to, because I was on that train first.
Yes, Danny is a hipster in hating Jungle Boy. I can absolutely attest to that. And if you don't believe me, go back and watch any of our old episodes.
Rev, how did the hipster burn his mouth?
How?
He drank coffee before it was cool.
Good stuff. Hook would look good with no hair. I guess maybe, but like Hook's hair kind of plays into his like Gen Z kind of character, like silent badass character. So I don't know. It could work, but it's hard to picture. After this, we then came back from commercial to a video package for Adam Cole and MJF's workout session over the weekend, which was just, it was absolutely fucking hilarious. From MJF being out-repped by Cole, like easily out-repped by Cole, to MJF making fat jokes that Cole didn't like, to both of them saying that they thought the overweight gentleman looked like Tony Schiavone at the same time. This was just pure hilarity and only added to the match later in the show.
This was great. I loved it. This tweet is it's okay, it's trying to mess up, whatever. But babyface MJF is every corny babyface hasn't worked the last 30 years, except he does. Yeah, because he's a heel doing it. That's what makes it work. There's a sincerity to it. There's a sincerity to his disingenuous nature that is just so earnest here, and it's so great. I love this, but I'll save most of my praise for their segment later. But this was fantastic. I loved this.
Yeah.
Yes, and there absolutely is no way Cole was benching that much. That's why they zoomed in so you couldn't see all the plates, because he obviously couldn't do that. Like, that's not even a knock. That's a ridiculous amount of weight. Yeah, of course he couldn't do that. He is a strong dude, but he is not benching fucking 4 plates on each side strong. You know, like that's another fucking, that is a steroid level that MJF might actually be on at this point. I'm starting to believe it, but the way they shot it was funny. Like, that's the thing. It was very tongue in cheek. Like, this was shot in such a campy way that it's okay that they clearly framed it so you couldn't see the weight. They didn't even bother to insult your intelligence with fake weights because this was so tongue in cheek. They didn't want you to truly believe that he could bench that much. They just wanted you to see MJF's reaction to it. That was the beauty of this segment, and the way it was shot.
I feel like it was almost a direct shot at people like JL saying that Cole is too skinny and doesn't have enough muscles. I know producer boy says
it was off balance. I noticed that too, Eric.
I also noticed that, but as somebody when I used to bench was always off balance, I was just like, okay, now I feel a little more, I don't know, not justified, but
dude,
like I don't feel as embarrassed. But I'm also crooked, which is why everything was always off balance. Shout out to my crooked ass spine. But yeah, no, it was really funny. I did like the tongue in cheek of it all. Just playing off the fact that people think Cole is too small. So it was great. It was absolutely great. And like you said, it only just led to more hilarity later in the show. Also,
you're just going to do one set and then you're like, what's next, bro? Like, you do more than one set. That's what's next. Then MJF does the second set. You do your second set. He does his third set. You do your third set. And then maybe you can move on to something else. But like, or maybe you drop some weight. You do negs. You go neg. You go max. What do you mean? What is this one and done nature? But again, that's why it was so campy that it's okay that they did stupid, silly things like that. That was the beauty of this, that even jokingly picking it apart, I still loved it because it's just funny. It's endearingly campy, and that's what's great about it.
Yep. After this, and I forgot the banner, so I'm going to I'll do it in a second. But where were we? Oh, yes, we had the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass against the Bollywood Boys and the Blade. Very weird, team up there with those 3 guys. But the Butcher was in the Blind Eliminator tournament a bit later. So Blade had nothing to do. So he tagged with the Bollywood Boys against the Acclaimed. Honestly, before we even start, Danny, what did you think of Max Caster's rap tonight?
Oof, unfortunately, it's not the best one because of the microphone issues. They had so many microphones that were so echoey throughout this show, and Max's unfortunately was very echoey, so it sounded like everything he said had a second delay and sounded like he was far away from the mic when he wasn't. But you mentioned the wildfires in Canada, risky move. When Jungle Boy did it for heat, you did it for a pop, and it worked because you're fucking Max Caster, and that's how you roll. But it was just okay. I gotta dox it for something that wasn't in his control. The audio issues are not Caster's fault, but it did affect the enjoyment of the rap. So it's probably like a 6 out of 10. Like the content was fine, but unfortunately the sound wasn't good, which also plagued Adam Cole later, and and other points throughout the show. But get it together, audio. Come on.
Yeah, I noticed the audio problems too, and it really sucked that it didn't work that well. But I enjoyed the rap. I thought it was pretty funny. But like you said, yeah, it does kind of take away from it. The match itself wasn't really anything special. Like the Acclaimed hit all their moves. The Bollywood Boys are, I don't want to call them jobbers at this point, but I mean they're usually there to lose to people like the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. So Caster got the pin off a mic drop to one of the Bollywood Boys, and they ended up winning. Good for them. After the match, Holly Cameron of QTV appeared on the screen and said that she's going to show the Acclaim that she's the most talented musician, on the AEW roster. After last week, I think it was on Rampage, where they refused to let her rap, and then they ended up getting jumped, and I think she was also hitting on Caster again, or not Caster, Bowens again, even though we obviously all know that he doesn't go that way, which I still think it's funny. But I disagree with this tweet. I saw this on Twitter during the show. I enjoy QTV. I mean, so I don't think it needs to be relegated to Rampage. I think it's kind of funny, actually.
I mean, it has its merit, and it somehow brought us Johnny TV, but Producer Boy is just trying to start an argument in the comments. That's all he's doing. But yeah, weird that you didn't have Johnny Elite Mundo Morrison, Impact on the show. I would have just had him sit next to her or something, but
yeah, to have him sit there or have QT there or whatever. I think I like QTV. I think it's funny. It does what it needs to do. Putting Morris in there gives it a bit more credibility while still allowing it to be funny, because he's a funny dude. He showed that when he was with The Miz back in his second run in AEW, or third run in AEW, whatever run it was. But
WWE.
Excuse me, yeah, in WWE. Told you I was fried. So yeah, and I like it. And it's the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that they get involved in Hobbs's matches, which we saw. I think that was on Collision during his Owen Hart match. It's like Hobbs should be able to win by himself. He is fucking huge and he's good, and they should be pushing him to win by himself. And instead, you get QT Marshall getting involved and he's cheating, and I just don't feel like that's doing anything for Hobbs.
Being associated with the jobber is doing nothing for Hobbs. I'm shocked.
Yeah, JL's got my back with QTV. He thinks it's underrated. I love it. I really do. The segments are really funny. Okay. After that, we then had a promo package with John Moxley. He was just talking about Eddie Kingston and their history together, and how he just kind of wants Eddie to stop living in the past and being so mad all the time, and to pick up his fucking phone, because apparently he's not answering Moxley's calls. But this was a short segment, but it was a very good one, I thought.
Yeah, I don't have anything to break it down really, but this was really, really good, and I'm excited for whatever they're gonna do next week with this. But this was really good.
Yeah. Also, shout out Eddie Kingston winning the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Championship by defeating Kenta the other day. And holy shit, I can't believe New Japan put a title on Eddie before Ring of Honor or AEW. But fuck yeah, go Eddie.
That's them testing the waters. We're going to get it. Eddie versus MJF, Grand Slam 3. It's happening. He's going to beat Moxley to make him credible, and he's going to challenge MJF. We're getting there.
Oh, I would love that. I saw somebody on Reddit before the show saying, because I was reading about Eddie's win, and they said that Eddie should beat MJF at Grand Slam, like you said, and then the one who takes it off him should be Jay White. And I was actually pretty fucking okay with that.
I mean, I don't know about Jay White right now, but there's plenty of time to make him the guy he's supposed to be. By then, there's plenty of time for that. Like, but if it was like as of right now, I can't see that because Jay White is like hella mid card. But
yeah, but I mean,
by then, sure, yeah, absolutely, I can see it.
Yeah, and there's all the history there too because Eddie's the one who ended up driving him out of New Japan, more or less. I think and those promo battles would be fucking fantastic. So I'd be super here for that. Next, up,
just Juice interacting with Eddie Kingston. I'm here for that.
Hearing
Anything Juice Robinson does, I'm fucking there for it.
Hearing him yell Eddie like he yells Ricky, like that would be great.
Or like he yelled Punk on Collision.
Yeah,
we don't talk about Collision, but
I know I gotta catch up on Collision. Obviously, like the last few weekends for me in general have been very busy, and they're going to continue to be all summer. So I'm trying to watch Collision at least later in the week, but I've missed the last two. So I've heard they're good though. I've heard they're actually really, really good. So I do want to catch up on them. Okay, after this, we went backstage to Renee Paquette. She was with Matt Hardy and RJ City, drawing Matt Hardy's tag partner for the Blind Eliminator tournament. And RJ drew Jeff Jarrett.
Fuck yeah. Let's get some Jeff Jarrett, bro. I love this team, actually. Immediately, it's the better Hardy brother and the best part of Jeff Jarrett and the Slapnuts. Teaming together, bro. This tournament's actually the best, it turns out. Crazy how they're still deciding teams while like certain rounds have started, but like this is great. I love this tournament.
Yeah, this is another one of those teams where like it's I put it in the chat, Jay, but it's an Atlanta Falcons Todd Gurley jersey. I haven't worn it in a while, but
wow, you must just wear an Atlanta Braves jersey while you're at it. Best fucking team in baseball, right? Just wear their jersey.
But I fucking hate the Braves. The Falcons
doesn't matter, right? They're unstoppable. The Braves won this year. They're gonna win the World Series. We can't stop them. Nobody can stop them.
Also, I'm not a Falcons fan. I just like the jersey. I'm unfortunately a Jets fan and have to live with that misery. But I mean, I'm wearing a Bulls hat with it. Like, I just like the hats and the jerseys. I don't care what the team is as long as I don't hate that team.
Why do you have a basketball hat? Basketball players don't wear hats.
Because I had a Bulls hat as a kid, and I always wanted another one, so I got another.
Okay, why do they exist? Actually, more not to you personally, but like, why do basketball hats exist? They don't wear hats.
But they look cool. I have a magic hat too.
Like they don't wear hats.
Yeah, but they look nice.
Get it? Jay, they wear helmets.
I need all the sympathy I can muster. I do have a Vikings jersey actually, Jay. I have a Adrian Peterson one. It's a throwback too. It's like a vintage one. So.
What are you, Marshall? The fucking Let's Go Vikings stuff out here.
Well, I liked Adrian Peterson back in the day. I don't really wear it anymore because he had his problems. But look, to get back on track here, I'm really excited for this. This pairing because Jeff Jarrett has been amazing. He is a great heat magnet, as we all know, and him with Hardy is going to be really, really funny. I don't know if they've been feuding or not, or if they feuded recently. But
you do look like a Giants fan. No offense.
I mean, I don't root against the Giants. I have no problem with them. I rooted very hard for the Giants in the 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots because I fucking hate the Patriots. But yeah, I'm excited for this pairing. Hardy and Jarrett together are going to be fucking hilarious. A lot of these teams are just like funny in a good way. So this tournament is actually providing a lot of good character work, like we talked about earlier, but it is providing a lot of levity as well. So I'm very, very hyped for it. Okay, after that, we had a quick Wheeler Yuta promo package. He was to hype his match later in the night with Kenny Omega. He did.
Oof. Shit just burned the hell out of you right there.
Fuck the Cowboys.
But you look a little bit like a Cowboys fan. No offense, but like,
I grew up with people who were Cowboys fans from the Bronx, and I was like, "Why are you a Cowboys fan?" We're not old enough where the Cowboys were the only other team on.
My old person I would buy certain stuff off of, guy, was a Cowboys fan. I was like, why? Oh, you just like the Cowboys and the Yankees. So you just like fucking like
Was he a Laker
dynasties
fan
from the
too?
90s. Like, I don't understand your deal, but you know.
The Cowboys kind of make sense for certain people of a certain age because back in the day, the second game you always used to get, well, obviously there would be the Jets and the Giants, and they would always be on in New York locally. But like half of the country for like the second game used to get that off the fucking screen, please. They used to hate Jesus Christ. They used to get the Cowboys as the second game of the week, and so a lot of people on the East Coast there then became Cowboys fans, and that's how you got them to be America's team. The West Coast used to all get the Raiders, and then that's why there's a bunch of Raiders fans along the West Coast as well. So there you go. Where were we? Oh yeah, Wheeler Yuta. He
I'm
did
so
okay.
lost.
There was a promo package. Good for him. After that, we come to Chris Jericho, who had a promo in the ring. Jericho came out and talked about how he's taken a couple of high-profile losses over the last few months. So now that he's back in Edmonton, where his career started, he thinks this is a good place to maybe try to figure out a change for himself and, revamp everything and become the best Chris Jericho he can possibly be.
I don't like football, JL. I don't really care. Like,
Actually, I think Chad's a Chiefs fan.
That's terrible. I don't know. Also, aren't they the Washington? No, never mind. That's the former Redskins.
Yes, the Washington football team, now Commanders.
Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about football. Like, if football could end and I would be happy, about it, but cool. I don't give a fuck about football. I care about baseball, skateboarding, wrestling, and ninja. Those are the main sports for me. And handball, but like that's not a competitive sport. Well, I'm bowling, but like the last two aren't sports you watch. Really, they're not like competitive. Like those are more sports you play.
Slam ball's coming back.
No, I don't care.
Oh, dude, slam ball's the best.
I feel nothing.
I almost said it's a jam, and I was like, that's a little too on the nose.
It's. I'm not gonna start a debate with you about this because there's not like James here to react to it, so it's not gonna be as fun. But like, you can't like all the sports. You got to pick some, you got to pick and choose. Some of them suck. Golf sucks. Say golf sucks.
I like golf.
You can't like all the sports. Golf is inherently boring.
I like almost all of the sports. And the sports
I don't. Liking golf is, I don't want to say it because you don't want me to talk about this on the podcast, but liking golf equates to a certain type of person that I don't think you want to be. But anyway, what happened after with Chris Jericho? This was actually really interesting. I was very into this promo.
Yeah, because
it was very exciting.
As Jericho was talking about becoming the best Chris Jericho he could possibly be, that carny piece of shit Don Callis came out to talk to Jericho. And you could barely hear him because there were so many boos. Good job, Edmonton. But they did some back and forth about how the other probably might not be there. Without them, because I think Callis said Jericho might not be there if he hadn't made that call to main event Wrestle Kingdom against Kenny Omega, and then Jericho said that Don might not be there if he didn't call Don and help him get back into the wrestling world a few years back. So after all of that, Don then formally asked Jericho to join his family, and Jericho says that he doesn't join factions. He creates one, so his one-word answer is maybe. So I thought this was very intriguing. It led to a little bit more with Garcia and Sammy down the line, as we see here. But I thought this is very interesting and maybe this beginning of the end of the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Oh, 100% is. Jericho's going face again, which is weird because it's not something I thought about wanting, but like Jericho knows when to make a change, man. He's not dumb. We complained about him a lot, but like he's still one of my all-time favorites, and he is still arguably one of the best of all time. Like I still genuinely believe that, no matter how much I've complained about him on this podcast. But like I was super intrigued by this because it came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. And I guess being in Canada still really helps. But this was very, very exciting. Yeah, maybe he's just doing this. Maybe he's just gonna join the blood and guts match just to make up numbers. We got an injured Brian now, so maybe Jericho's the guy that takes his place. But I was very, very into this, very intrigued by this, and I'm willing to see where it goes. Jake, you could say you enjoy golf. There's nothing badass about it. Like, it's fine if you like it. I'm just picking on it because it's an easy one to pick on. And I think you can't like every single sport that's obscene. But think of a better word than badass. Skateboarding has been fine. If anything, you could critique skateboarding's biggest time period downside is when it was most popular in like 2009, when like it was all when Rob Dyrdek took over MTV, who still like basically owns MTV now.
Like 80%, no, 95% of their programming is ridiculous.
Yeah, he has negotiated such an insane contract with them that he doesn't own it, but like it revolves around him, and it is insane. Bro, you're getting sick of BCC versus the Elite. This isn't BCC versus JAS. That was way too soon. This has been nothing but good matches, but like, it is reaching its end soon. That's why we're getting the blood and guts. So if you are getting sick of it, don't worry, bro. We're almost through. It's like, what, 2 more weeks and it's done?
Something like that. If they go past the blood and guts match, it's going to be too long. And
that's the tipping point. I'll be right there. If it's still going on 3 weeks from now, Jay, we'll be right there with you. Okay, buddy? But right now, we're excited for this conclusion. But if it goes longer than 3 weeks, I agree, Jay. Full stop.
Yeah. I'm going to slightly disagree with this. He wasn't popular due to Fantasy Factor. He was popular due to Robin Big.
Yes.
That show fucking ruled. I love that show.
Yeah. No, he wasn't a good skateboarder. Like, he was fine. He wasn't like the superstar. Him and Ryan Sheckler were like the downfall by making it more mainstream than ever, But if you're a punk skater kid, that is the downfall because it's selling out. But like by making it mainstream, it's like it's fine. Like skateboarding, I've never met a skateboarder where I was like, oh, what a piece of shit, But yeah, we're not gonna get into a whole thing about skateboarding in the 21st century and the history and ebbs and flows of it. But I'm going to say this right now. The Tony Hawk games are still better than the skate games. I don't care. Those games are very overrated.
I loved Underground 2.
Underground 2 is the best one.
One of my favorite games ever.
Same.
I just pulled that out of a box. I'm definitely going to boot it up at some point in the next couple of weeks. Okay, let's get back on track here. I don't think Jericho is going to join Don. If he does, so here's the thing. If he turns face, then I think he ends up like probably feuding with Takeshita for a little bit after the whole BCC Elite War ends, just to give Takeshita probably a high profile win, and then we can go from there. Because him and Don. Hold
up! Sorry, I'm so sorry. I got to interrupt here once again for like the 4th time in this podcast. We are talking about wrestling, and we are talking about the live action Scooby-Doo movie. I wish Kevin was in the chat right now because we were just talking about this yesterday. But goddamn, the live-action Scooby-Doo movie holds up so well. It's so great. I think that movie is older than JL, by the way. But what a great tweet. Good job, Producer Boy, finding that gem. But I'm sorry, Rev, you were saying?
What was I saying? I think if Jericho did join with that corny piece of shit Don Callis, it wouldn't last very long because it would be funny for a bit, but they're both like alphas, and I think at a certain point they would start stepping on each other's toes, and that would lead to tension, and I think Don would eventually have Jericho thrown out. So there's a chance it happens after I think Blood and Guts, but I don't think it would last very long, and if it does, either way, I think you end up with Takeshita versus Jericho somewhere down the road, with Takeshita probably getting the win just because it's a good high profile win for him as a recently turned heel. So
yeah, that makes perfect sense. It. Parkour is the shit, bro. That shit takes so Jump City, Seattle, great show. Only got one season, but it was super cool. It's a great sport. It's stupid. I mean, like all sports, it's just putting your body through unnecessary danger and strain. But it's fun stuff. Skate 2 is the best of the skate games. I do agree with you there, Jay. I think they're a little overhyped for their time. I got sick of hearing about them. And yes, a producer boy, you get a star next to your name. Go ahead and put that in your little name bar next time you jump on here. And you get one piece of candy. But yeah, what happened after this?
After this, we went into a string of segments, which actually all interconnected, which I actually really, really like. So it started with a promo package for CM Punk versus Samoa Joe in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament
Good
over
stuff.
on Collision. You got a bit of a promo package, a bit of promos from both Joe and Punk. Obviously, Punk has never beaten Samoa Joe, which I find very intriguing as we come up to this match on Saturday. But it also showed that when Joe beat Roderick Strong, he then attacked Roderick after the match to, kind of prove something to Punk, who was on commentary, and Roddy ended up being stretchered out. So then after that, we went backstage with Roderick Strong and Doc Samson, where Renee was trying to get a medical update. So Doc Samson said that Roddy's improving, but with his history of neck and back issues, that they're going to have to take their time. Roddy seemingly disagreed. He was like, I'm fine. I feel fantastic and everything. Then Adam Cole came in to check on Roddy and see how he's doing and to tell him to take his time. He's got all the time in the world to come back. And, don't push it. Make sure you're healthy. Roddy then asked what's going on with Cole and MJF. And Cole said that he's fine and everything's okay. And he's made his boundaries known.
You have nothing to worry about, baby. Like, that's okay. I'm just stringing him along. He means nothing to me. Oh, look at this text I got from him. Look at that. He's going to cheat on you, Roddy. Can't trust him.
Yep. And the text was from MJF, and it said that they should try to do a double clothesline in the match. And Cole says that, and then he goes out for his match. So before we get into the match, Danny, like I said, these have all kind of strung together from the Punk package all the way down to the match. So I actually really, really enjoyed how they did all of this.
I thought this was really good. Their video production was really good.
Oh no,
bro! Let me tell you something about this guy, James. Okay, this guy doesn't show up again, and he's not making a surprise appearance like he did last week. He's not even here in the chat because he doesn't give a fuck about us or you guys. He is full. You don't know about Hollywood, James, but when this dude is working on a movie set, he acts like we're fucking peasants to him. Okay. Yesterday was a very American holiday, 4th of July, very patriotic. We shoot off fireworks. We're very irresponsible. We don't give a fuck about war veterans or animals. And, I'm saying that hypocritically because I shoot off fireworks even though I have animals. But James was at a little fireworks display, not with me, because I invited him. He didn't want to come. He was like, I would never go to your house. I would never show up at an event at your house. I was like, you know what? That's fair. This guy at his event, because I know this because he showed us a video of it on our group chat. This guy took 2 Roman candles and he said, get ready to meet your maker, kids. And then he pointed them at the daycare across the street from where he was. Just shot off Roman candles, which don't hurt because they're very small, but for a kid, that's fucking terrifying. So he's just traumatizing children out here, and no one did anything to stop him, which is just insane. But yeah, this was a good sequence of video packages. It was nicely done. If you're gonna string them together, make them intertwine. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I love when TV shows, but especially wrestling shows do that. Sometimes there was a little while there where WWE was doing it, especially when AAA first came into control and he was kind of doing segments. He'd kind of go from one backstage segment and then follow somebody else into another one. It was always cool when they did stuff like that. So I like seeing things like this. I like how it led into the match, and we got 3 storylines sort of all wrapped up together into these segments, which I thought was really well done.
Jay, you got to give us the ins and outs of what parts of Canada are good and what parts suck. That's very interesting to know.
Letterkenny is a pretty good part. So let's talk about this match. It was MJF and Adam Cole versus Daddy Magic Matt Menard and the Butcher in the Tag Team Championship Blind Eliminator Tournament. MJF did the entirety of Adam Cole's entrance with him, and it was great.
So good.
It was so funny. And then early in the match, MJF used the crowd to peer pressure Cole into illegally helping him add leverage to the abdominal stretch, which was also great. And kind of like that tweet said before, MJF doing all the shitty babyface things, but doing them as a heel, making them funny, has been so good. He's making all of that shit work just so well right now. I'm loving every second of this. And you actually saw MJF kind of fight the match as the underdog babyface because he ended up taking the heat for the majority of the match until he was finally able to scramble over to Cole and get the tag. Cole then kind of took out both guys, I don't want to say easily, but he handled them both, and he ended up lowering the boom for the win while also ignoring MJF pleas to tag him in to hit the double clothesline. So after the match, MJF grabs a couple of microphones and he asks Cole if he wants to have another bro session this weekend. And Cole reluctantly agrees after MJF uses the crowd to peer pressure him into it again. Cole is then about to leave, but MJF says he has one more thing for him and wishes Cole a happy birthday. I didn't know it was Adam Cole's birthday, so happy birthday, Adam Cole. And then streamers go off, and MJF has a bunch of guys come down with, friggin' party hats and a cake and, the noisemakers and everything. Sings Cole a happy birthday in his, very good singing voice. And then tries to get Cole to make a wish. And Cole goes over to the cake, try to make a wish. And MJF looks at the camera and goes, I'm going to push him. And he starts to sneak over, and Cole reverses it and slams MJF's face right into the cake. Max ends up laughing it off. And then Cole actually genuinely thanked MJF. He seemed like he was genuinely thankful for everything MJF did for his birthday. So maybe Cole is starting to lighten up a bit. We see this part here where Cole licked some of the cake, not licked, but he took some of the cake off of MJF's face and said it was good. And then MJF had some and was like, yeah, it was pretty good too. So the shenanigans with Cole and MJF have been spectacular. And even if the rest of this tournament sucks, it has given us this, and I love it.
I'm going to say it. This was perfect. This was a perfect segment from start to finish. Everything about this was amazing. MJF doing Cole's entrance. So funny. MJF's character is so great. And right now, and this is the first time we've seen it like this, it's hinging upon the fact that he's an annoying little brother to Cole. And he idolizes Cole as an older brother, and Cole fucking resents him so much for it. And he's wearing him down. He is being that affable but annoying younger brother to Cole. And we saw it get to Cole this week. We saw it work on him. Him doing the entrance, so good. Cole's disdain for him doing it, so good. Because he looked so excited. He looked like a fan doing that. And one of the things we've realized last year with the Punk feud is that MJF, as a fan, is so good because he's so insecure. And we get to see the root of that insecurity and where it comes from. And we get a deeper dive into his psyche that we don't always get with other wrestlers. So this is him living out a childhood fantasy or a teenage fantasy, which sounds a lot weirder to say teenage fantasy than childhood fantasy. But he's living out a teenage fantasy doing that, and then he gets a tag with them, and then he gives Cole doesn't give Cole, but Cole gets the big heroic spot to save him and win him the match. But MJF really tried. MJF put in the effort. There wasn't normal MJF like I don't want to wrestle, I don't want to be here. He tried. He wants to get Cole's approval. He wants Cole to trust him and wants Cole to like him. And yes, he has ultimately that heel ulterior motive of not wanting to fight Cole for the title again, but he wants the genuine affection from Cole, and he cannot hide it. He's pretending that he's pretending to pretend, but he really does want Cole to like him. He doesn't want Cole to just fall for this, to not have to worry about fighting Cole for the title again. He wants Cole to genuinely like him and be his friend, and that's the beauty of it. So they get the win, because of course they get the win, because this whole tournament is hinged upon this fucking team. If they lost in the first round, you can do that, but that would suck, because then that means this would be over already. The fucking confetti robe that this dude was in. Yes, I was just about to bring this up. So hilarious. Like, here, I got you these streamers, and they all land on me. Like, that wasn't on purpose, but like that couldn't have worked out any fucking better. Dude literally was like, this is his fucking Charlotte impression. Like, what? Like, this fucking so good. And yeah, Jay, I understand, like Cole, and I'm normally I have no problem with that. Like, it's fine. But like everything about this feud hits. And yes, Cole being mean to MJF is part of what makes it work, because they want you to sympathize with MJF despite the fact that he is still clearly the heel in this. So him bringing out all this stuff, doing having the birthday party for him, like, please don't go. Like, we're so good. Like, this is working. It's just genuinely great storytelling for something that this was all felt thrown together randomly, and now it's the best thing they're putting out. And as much as the BCC versus the Elite is a big deal and a main event feud, this stuff should be the main event. MJF and Cole should be the main event right now over the BCC Elite, because I want them to be friends. Look at this image. This is so fucking perfect. Like, this, everything about this is so good. It sums it up perfectly. First of all, that timing of putting the fucking streamer in his mouth, like, and then Cole reluctantly blowing it, him teasing, putting the hat on. Like, he is putting on such an act. But the truth is that, again, I keep saying the same thing over and over again, just in different words, but he's putting on the fact that he's putting on an act. That is what's being put on. It's not just him faking it. He's faking it, because this is what he genuinely wants. And I genuinely love this. This is my favorite part of the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Follow us on social media. Like, I don't care. We're not gonna talk about. Actually, I want to talk about Britt versus Ruby, but like after that, we can just call it a show, I guess. All right.
Maybe there's the kind of the main event part of everything, but I actually think MJF almost didn't try it in the match, because it doesn't make sense that your AEW champion is losing to, the Butcher and Matt Menard. Like, they're good wrestlers, don't get me wrong, but your AEW champion should be able to, I don't want to say easily take care of these guys, but do what Cole did. He came in and he worked them over pretty quickly and was able to get the win pretty fast. So the fact that MJF didn't do that almost leads me to believe that he maybe wasn't trying on purpose to allow Cole to come in and be the hero.
Even better. Yeah.
Right? Just to help, butter him up even more. So I think, MJF is playing Cole. We all know this. Even Cole knows this. But at some point, I think he is going to wear Cole down. And in that moment's hesitation where Cole's like, maybe he does actually like me, MJF is going to stab him right in the back.
I don't know. I like what this person put out there. Like, I would love for it to, like, actually not be Max stabbing him in the back, but like circumstances, I want it to be an accident almost at this point. Like, because I want to feel for MJF. Like, I don't want him to turn face off of this, but I want to feel bad for him. Like, because that's one thing we've realized MJF is, like, he has such a great backstory as a villain that you understand why he is the way he is. But like, you feel for him, but then he always does bad things. We're like, well, that's the extent of my sympathy for you, because, then you go and do something terrible and fucked up. But man, I'm in love with this storyline. It is just so good.
Yeah, I also think you're going to see MJF at a certain point, even if he is the one to stab Cole in the back. I think he's going to hesitate because, like you said, he's pretending, but he's also probably pretending to pretend. And he's going to actually care for Adam Cole more than he wanted to or was ever supposed to. And while I think his insecurities will win out and he will end up betraying Cole, I do think there is going to be that hesitation of this guy is genuinely my friend now, and I'm going to stab him in the back, even though that was always the plan.
This is going to be festival of friendship levels of heartbreaking when it all turns south.
Yeah. Even though we can see this one kind of coming, like we didn't know when the Festival of Friendship was going to happen, that's what was going to happen. But when this does happen, you're right. It's going to be that level of emotion and heartbreak because I think both guys are going to get invested into this friendship. And then when it happens, they're both going to, take it really hard. So, all right, let's move on because we could spend a lot more time on that as it is a continuing storyline. So we will talk about it more probably next week. We then went to a backstage interview with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She was responding to what Ruby said last week about taking everything from Britt. Britt says that Ruby lied last week and she hadn't taken everything because there's two things that Ruby can't take. Her pride, because she's still the face of the women's division in AEW, and the fact that she was the first ever winner of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And she brought out the belt that she won last year. So quick promo, but decent response and a little bit of hype before their match in a couple of segments. We then came back from commercial to Chris Jericho being backstage with Renee, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia. Garcia is upset that Jericho just said maybe to Don Callis, saying that they were his family and that Garcia and Sammy and everybody else needed him.
Another example of mic problems where I couldn't hear a fucking thing Daniel Garcia was saying.
Yeah. I mean, he also wasn't projecting all too well, but you're right. There was a couple of mic problems during the segment as well. Jericho says that they can't be with him forever, and this could be a good opportunity for them to learn how to do things without him, which prompts Renee to jump in and say that Garcia and Sammy had actually been paired together in the Blind Eliminator tournament. Again, it seems very lucky. And Jericho said, this is perfect. You guys could go out there. You could win the tag team titles without me. And maybe one of you can step up and learn what it means to be a leader. And then Garcia looks at Sammy and goes, okay, let's go out there and finish what we started. So I'm interested. It's another piece of intriguing information we got here with this whole Jericho, Don Callis, maybe the end of the JAS situation.
Yeah, interesting. We'll see. We'll see what it plays into. I don't know who they're facing in the first round, but
yeah, it's been weird. They haven't really they've been announcing teams slowly as the tournament started, but
which makes no sense. How do you not have all the teams together, but rounds have started? That makes no sense. But
yeah, we don't have a concrete bracket yet either. So yeah, Adam Cole and MJF moved on, and Darby and Orange Cassidy moved on, but against whom? Right? We have no idea. So we'll see. After that, we jumped back into the women's division with the aforementioned Dr. Britt Baker DMD versus Ruby Soho match in the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. At least we have a bracket for this one. This match was fine. I saw a lot of hate for it online. A lot of people saying it absolutely killed the momentum of the show, killed the crowd. It wasn't anything we hadn't seen before. And once again, women in the time slot of death, they don't really get a lot of help there. So towards the end of the match, Britt is about to get in the lockjaw, but Saraya jumps on the apron and distracts the ref. Ruby uses this to break out of the hold. Then she slams Britt's head into Toni Storm's title and hits a no future, but Britt kicks out of that, which was actually a little surprising and probably the loudest the crowd was throughout this entire match. Britt goes to the lockjaw again, but this time the Outcasts pull Britt out of the ring to break up the hold, and then she takes both of them out temporarily. Britt is then able to get Ruby up on her shoulders after Ruby had gone to the top rope, and she went for the victory roll, which is how Britt won the tournament last year in the final against Ruby. But Ruby was able to counter, crossing Britt's legs, leaning back into a pin, and then she reaches back, and Toni and Saraya pull her back for added leverage, and Ruby is able to win the match. After the match, Ruby scampered up to the top of the ramp, and she was eventually met by Sky Blue, who will be her second round challenger, opponent, whatever. So they have a stare down, Danny, you said you wanted to talk about this. I kind of already said my piece. Like, it wasn't anything we haven't seen before. And I understand that a bunch of storylines with the Outcast probably got put on hold because of Jamie's injury. But, like, how many times can we do this with the Outcast before it gets stale? Because it's kind of already there.
All I really wanted to say is a thank fucking God Ruby won.
Yeah.
Finally gets a freaking win over Britt. And, you know, I love Britt. I think we all love Britt on the Market Down podcast. This is one of the few times where I was like, you're surviving on your own a little too much. But, you know, like, I'm just glad Ruby got her win. Hopefully she can win the tournament, because now that Britt's out, you're going to have Sky Blue win the freaking tournament? Like, what the hell? Like, just give it to Ruby. Give her something. So you have all the Outcasts have something. You have Tony with the title, Ruby with the Owen, and Saraya being still a bigger star than everyone in the division. You know, like, just give them that for now, and we'll see where things go. I'd also like to see just Britt challenge Tony for the title, like, and have Tony get a really big title defense before Jamie returns, you know, against the most credible person on the roster that's not in her faction. You know, that'd be cool. But yeah, the match itself was fine. At this point I was trying to play catch up anyway. But I didn't think it was the best of their three matches. So, yeah, you know, I get that. Like, anyone who was like, oh, this wasn't that good, it's like, yeah, because we've seen them have better matches, but the right person won. I wish they made a bigger deal out of having the winner go out in the first round. You know, and I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. Maybe she cost Ruby against Sky Blue or something. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that was what I was thinking. I could definitely see that happening, because they've been pushing Sky a bit more. James would tell you that she's been doing really, really well over on Ring of Honor. And
James doesn't know what he's talking about. That dude fucking lights fireworks at kids, okay? Like, yeah.
But, I mean, I could see Sky winning that match against Ruby, but then again, like, it doesn't kill the credibility of Outcast, but it doesn't help. And it just continues this friggin' storyline that, again, I know it's in a holding pattern, but what are we doing with the Outcasts? I like them. I like the faction. But they face the same 4 or 5 people every week, and the storyline doesn't go anywhere other than Outcasts cheat to get one of their members another victory. It's the same thing week in, week out, and for whatever reason, all of the AEW originals never teamed up together to try to take them down. And Jamie is hurt, but when Rio was there, she was doing things, and her and Britt never teamed up. Willow has a problem with them. They never went to her for help. Fucking Sky Blue, the three of them were running together, and then you had Britt and Jamie over there, and they're all fighting the same fight. Nothing. I don't know what the hell happened to Sheeta. I know she won the other week on Collision. Thank God. Or Rampage, rather. But, again, thank God. But, what happened to her in this feud? None of this makes sense to me. But just do something with them. At least give us the storyline here. Call the audible with the injury. Because you got to do something.
Yeah, I mean, WWE don't even do that anymore. They don't even do WWE style anymore with the women. Even now, where I think where Triple H is doing a bad job with the women's division, it's still better than AEW's and not as repetitive. That being said, I actually have more of a problem with the times the Outcasts lose a lot for some of those the numbers advantage. And it just, that's more of nothing ever happens, because then they just win most of the time, but then they lose sometimes, and and then the world keeps turning. But yeah, it's just all the baby faces look dumb because they always come to make the saves after the match instead of coming out in the beginning. That's, I think, the biggest issue. Yeah, I guess, Eric, that's like a fair-ish point, but that's what makes it feel like a big deal. That's why other women need to step up. I would also say that Britt is like second biggest name behind Saraya. Honestly, like Tony wasn't that prevalent in WWE to have that big of a name coming over. Like any name she had would be over with that crowd already.
Yeah, because of Japan and NXT. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. But in terms of WWE proper, yeah, she was barely up on the main roster before she got released. So I could see what you're saying there. I don't know. I just, like I said, they need to do something. The baby faces look dumb. The fact that they haven't really banded together yet to take the Outcasts out is just dumb to me. And I don't know if that's the end game for the Outcasts. But then, what's the point? I guess I don't. It's very confusing. I just want to see this go somewhere so it stops being so repetitive and we stop getting the same thing week in and week out. Even if the Outcasts are winning by cheating week in and week out, I understand that. Like you said, they have the numbers game. But just give me a little more variety in this instead of Outcasts come out, they face one of 3 wrestlers, cheat to win, and we go home. Like, it's a little ridiculous. All right, let's move on to the main event of the evening, which saw Kenny Omega face off against Wheeler Yuta. Obviously, Wheeler was the one who pinned Kenny in the Anarchy in the arena match, even though he didn't really do any of the work. But he was talking a lot of shit, so he got a shot at Kenny. Yuta actually spent much of the early match attacking Omega's injured neck and shoulder. Obviously, after that Tiger Driver 91 against Will Ospreay, his neck's a little fucked up, which is great. I can already see Producer Boy just trying to take Wheeler out in the background here while I'm trying to talk. Anyway, he was able to keep Kenny down until Kenny eventually found an opening and was able to take back a bit of control. Omega was about hits a V-trigger, and then because of his injured neck, he actually has trouble getting Yuta up for the one-winged angel, and the delay allows Yuta to counter and go for the seatbelt, which is what he used to be Kenny at the Anarchy Arena, but Kenny is able to kick out. Then as Omega is lining up for another V-trigger, that carny piece of shit Don Callis comes back out, and he distracts Kenny and the referee, who ended up jumping out of the ring. The referee leaving allowed Takeshita to sneak in from behind and hit Omega with a Blue Thunder Bomb. Yuta then hit a splash from the top rope. The referee came running back in to count the pinfall, but Omega was able to kick out. Yuta then went back to the top rope, but Omega prevented him from getting set up there, and then that allowed Kenny to get Wheeler up on his shoulders and hit the one-winged angel for the win. After the match, Claudio came out of fucking nowhere, and him and Takeshita just start attacking Omega before the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page come running down to the ring with chairs. They were able to drive Takeshita out of the ring, and then the Bucks hit Claudio with a BTE trigger, and Hangman was about to fucking lay a chair over his head, but the Dark Order came out of nowhere, and Evil Uno grabbed the chair from Hangman as he lifted it over his head. And as that's happening, Dynamite goes off the air in WCW style because they ran out of time. Now, I went and checked on Reddit, and people were saying that on Fight, they kept it rolling. And what happened was the Dark Order left with the chair while the Young Bucks super kicked Claudio again, and then Hangman clotheslined him out of the ring. So Dark Order didn't really they didn't turn on Hangman, so to speak, but they didn't allow an attack Claudio. So we are seeing the evolution of that storyline, that friendship, and how it's playing out. But Dana, this was a pretty good match. Obviously, Kenny was selling his injuries from the Will Ospreay match, and rightfully so. That was a great match and a very physical one. And I think that is one of the reasons why Yuta was able to get as much offense as he did. But I thought this made Wheeler look very good because he was able to hang with Kenny, even though he wasn't at 100%. And Kenny ends up overcoming all of his injuries and getting a very clutch win.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not watch this match. I was running behind, and I don't want to lie to you guys and pretend I watched it. I would never do that to you, and no one on this podcast would ever do that to you. Look at Producer Boy being unbiased and balancing things out. But I would like to talk about James because he's not here. So I don't know when's the last time you went to a restaurant with James, but like
it was when we went to see Full Gear in New Jersey, I think.
Okay, so I don't know if you did that then while you were in a different state, but like I don't know, like you ever notice when like James will go out to dinner, right? And he'll always tell the waitress to smile, like every time. Like she could already be smiling, and he'll still like tell her to smile, and it's just so off-putting to them, And then he'll go to the bathroom, and he'll do his best. He'll do his best Jeff Hardy impersonation. And he'll roll up a dollar bill, and have some candy, if you will, of the nose variety. And I'll come back, and then he'll just start being loud. He'll slam the table a few times, not in like an angry way, just in a obnoxious kind of way. And he'll just give the waiter such a hard time, while not like actually being rude or anything, just by being annoying and by being a little bit much. You know what I mean? And then every time he tips the waitress or the waiter with the rolled up dollar bill that still has residue on it. And I just think that's kind of messed up, right? Like that's kind of just a dick thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's kind of fucked up, and I don't know, but I like that Dark Order's finally doing something. I like that John Silver looked at Claudio and was like, "I got to protect that fellow bald guy. We got to stick together," and that's making it a little more interesting going into the last few weeks of this feud, and maybe this spins off into a brief Elite versus Dark Order feud, even though they already won. So I guess not. Sorry, but it's a very interesting wrinkles of the story, and I think we're on the same page that it would have been nice if the Dark Order stuff wasn't dropped for so long. But ultimately, I am into this and interested to see where it goes. But overall, I feel like I was positive on most of the things on the show, but this still felt like a run-of-the-mill kind of show. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, I thought, this is like kind of one of those filler episodes. We got to put something on every week, and nothing felt awful. But nothing outside of maybe, say, the MJF Cole stuff felt like amazing. The opening match was good. It was very good, but it wasn't amazing. And everything else was, either was a little flat or it just didn't hit that extra gear. So I enjoyed the show. I didn't think it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but James was a heel all along.
The best part is that I saved it for so late in the show. He's never going to see this.
No, he might, because he might just fast forward to the part where we talk about Kenny and Wheeler, because it's Kenny. But
there's no way. He doesn't care that much. He's putting on an act.
Like MJF last week. There's no way he watched the show.
There's no way. And you know what? Chad's on acid right now. That's why he's not here. I'm just going to put that out there, because he's not going to watch either. So
that I believe.
And Producer Boy's on antidepressants. But they're not working.
But look, yeah, as for the show, it was a decent show. I would, if you didn't watch the entirety of the show, I would definitely go back and watch all of the MJF and Cole stuff. I would probably check out the Moxley promo, just because I think the stuff with him is very interesting. Oh, I forgot who signed that. He told me. I remember when he got that. But there's a couple of things that like stood out. But,
okay, look, I don't want to like derail the very ending, because I do want to wrap up, but James has so much money that he has $100 bill to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna have people sign this. I don't need this $100. This is fucking chump change to me. I'll just have someone sign it so that I can never spend it. What a guy. What a guy. What a rich made man. But overall, what'd you give this show on a scale of 1 to, let's say, 19? What'd you give this?
I can't do math in my head. I was gonna say like, almost like it's like a 70%. Like it was like a C plus, or I guess that's a C minus show. It was like a C minus. Yeah, it was fine, but I didn't love anything. I don't think anything stood out to me. It was a mid-tier filler show. So.
Yeah, I'd give this 3 Bidoofs out of 5.
Love Bidoof. Great Pokemon. But yeah, clearly I've lost control of the show several times today. So let's just end it. So I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Oh, it was John Cena. Thank you, Eric. Be sure to like and subscribe. Is that James?
What the fuck?
Oh, you should probably mute this just so we don't get...
Save this. Send this to me immediately. Right now. Producer Buck, send this to me right now. I have work to do tomorrow now. Holy shit.
Just joxing James's YouTube channel. But yeah, go subscribe to James too. But be sure to like and subscribe here first so that you can check us out when we do this next week. I don't know if James is back tomorrow for the Gym Pack Zone, but he is usually on Thursdays to review Impact. Danny does his Raw fast forwards on Monday most of the time. Usually we just when Raw's good.
Don't say most of the time, and James doesn't consistently do Impact. I mean, what is this? We do it about the same amount.
That's actually, you know what? That is very fair and very true. So I do apologize. But you should subscribe so you get both of those shows whenever they are. And we are here almost every Wednesday as well to review Dynamite. New episodes, kind of bi-weekly at this point, it feels like. But, you definitely get our takes before pay-per-view. So I don't know when the next one is, but you'll definitely get a prediction show for it. Check out all of our social media stuff in the description below. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I always say every week that Instagram's very good. Danny does a great job over there. We're doing better with the Twitter. I don't know if we're going to get a Threads account. I don't know, man. That's like, it's amazing to me how much people are advertising a different Twitter on Twitter right now. But whatever. We'll see. If we do get one, it'll be in the description below. So for Producer Boy in the background and Danny Hernandez, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good night, everybody.